Good morning, Jefi. How are you doing?
Dude, I am doing groovy today.
Groovy? Tell me more about that.
I don't
70s
know. The
groovy?
weather's 70s groovy. Um, the weather's changing a little bit here in San
Mm.
Diego, so it's dipping down just a bit, which feels nice. The heat, dude. I know your heat's different than my heat, but my body does not like the
Yeah,
heat.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's starting to
So,
cool. We're getting a little hint of fall, and we've got home football game this weekend. I'm
ooh,
hosting my pop-up party at a little local beer garden. So
I
just
love
I'm
it.
just kind of like, hey, come on down. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be a
Good.
lot of fun. But
Good.
we're here today doing part two. Part
I
two.
love part two.
Mission and purpose. So, for those of you hopping
Mhm.
in that didn't listen to the previous week, definitely give that a listen, but we'll give you the kind of cliff notes of what we
Sure.
talked about so that we've got that a little bit covered, a little level set. So, we drove in really deep on the power of purpose last week. And
Hmm.
one of the top concepts is N equals one. So that like you are
Right.
the universe, right? So
I love that.
yeah, yes, you do. So, your process and tools you use are your own. And so what
Right.
lights me up and is my purpose is different from yours, is different from Cody's, is
Yep.
different from Lynn's, right? So
Exactly.
that just kind of works along. And you were going to hit the next point, I think.
What lights you up, buddy? You already talked about it, Mr. Global.
Oh,
Whoa. Okay, anyway, let's get serious here. So, Ed's right. When you go through and you figure out what lights you up and you think about things that light you up internally, the things that light you up externally, again, this is really we went into this really deep in last week's podcast, but things that make you feel good, things that environments that like I love being out in nature, give me a tree to hug and I'm going to be all about it. So it's just really figuring out that piece so that we can roll into this piece, which is the mission
that's
piece.
right. And I think one important note here, when you think about purpose overall, is that purpose is about goals that serve others. Uh, but it
Oh, yeah.
but it can be a small group, or it could be your spouse, it could be your family, it could be your clients, it could be it doesn't have to be solving world hunger, Mother Teresa.
That's right.
You don't have to do that, right?
Right. You can.
Yeah,
You
you
can,
can.
but you don't have to.
Right. So I think the reason
Yeah.
we bring that up is it can get a little intimidating when you're working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to do that. So that's what we've
100%.
got. So in terms of that, purpose referring to a deeper meaning and significance behind our goals and actions. I've been reading an interesting book, and it's called "Make Something Wonderful." And
I love the cover
I
of
know
that
it's really
book.
cool. It's Steve Jobs. It's about his whole journey. It's a really, really cool book. My brother-in-law gave it to me. He works for Disney, and there's a deeper story on how he got this book. I'll save for another time. And I wanted to put it in the notes, but I think it's kind of an inside deal because it sells for like $300 minimum. I mean, I don't know what's going on if it's like
On
on
Etsy?
a
Yeah.
yeah, like people access it through Disney, but it's just a summary of his story told through his internal emails and
Mm,
speeches and references, and it's really really cool. But I think it illustrates the power of purpose.
yes.
So, kind of stepping back for Steve Jobs, he was all about bringing the humanities into computing. He wanted things to be easy, to be graphic. And back in the day, like it was just a little flashing cursor, right? And he
Right.
was like, hey, we need to make this human. We want things to be small. We want them to be handheld and to bring design into it. So
Mhm.
really his purpose was all about making beautiful computing/movies that bring joy into people's lives. And
Right.
that led him throughout his entire career. And he had an
Right.
interesting quote in there in this book, which is, it's our job to make complex technology easy and fun to use. And that drove him throughout his entire career.
Mhm. You know, this reminds me of working with my coach on creating a mission statement. And it's if you look at this and his purpose, make beautiful computing progress products, movies that bring joy to people's lives. This is a man who ran with a company that I'm literally using all their products, and that was his mission. This is part of this whole piece that we're trying to tell you about, and not tell you about, but to talk with you about. And that is that it just this simple, motivating, beautiful base idea can grow into anything you want.
Yeah. You are so
Yeah.
correct. And,
Yeah.
obviously Jobs is the extreme example,
Sure.
but
Absolutely.
but when they were working in their garage building the first
Mhm.
Apple computers, it wasn't about, hey, we want to make some money and pay for college. It was literally about, we want to change the world. To
Right.
like high schoolers, right, in a garage. And they
Yes.
had this deep
Yes.
passion for doing that, about making things, simple to use.
Mhm.
So it just shows what you can do with that power of mission. So it was a really timely
That's true.
book to be handed this weekend when
Mm.
we were, diving into this stuff.
Everything happens on purpose.
I know. I definitely believe that too.
Hey, I pulled the definition of mission because we did that for purpose last week, and it's a strongly felt aim or ambition or calling.
A strongly
A
felt
strongly felt
aim.
aim, ambition, or calling. And you can see that woven through what you just talked about. So when you're doing your creation of your mission statement, your ultimate mission, your 10-year goals, really think about that definition.
Yeah, I think that's a
Okay.
really good one.
Yeah.
So that's super, super helpful. Um, and in that vein, it's like when mission is represented by the specific goals we achieve.
Right.
And so when you take your goals and you add purpose to it, that gives you
Oh,
mission. And
right.
and when you align those, it creates this sense of flow in our work to where the time just melts away and we almost can't get enough of it.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Cool.
Yay.
So how do we get here? Do
So,
you want to dive into that?
yeah, before we do that, I really want to lay out the fact that you and I are realtors.
Yes. First and
We
foremost.
love our
Yeah,
jobs. We
absolutely.
love our jobs. We and I don't care what your job is. Your job usually is the catalyst to being able to do the things that fill a purpose and a mission in your life. So, as we're going through this, we want to make sure that you hear that this is something that can fill your soul so that you're better at your job. Or maybe ultimately it will become your job, or maybe it'll become your passion project. But we're just giving a general outline of ideas. You can tie these ideas into your career, you can tie it into a an event you want to do, or an art project you want to do. It doesn't matter, but we're just want to make sure that everybody knows that you can do this process with anything in your life, right?
That's 100%
Okay,
right. And it's like,
great.
and we're a good example of this is, we're dedicated, passionate realtors about serving our clients. But we have other
Yes.
interests too. And we
Mhm.
try to fuel those interests and provide a sense of passion behind that and purpose that gives us the energy to invite our clients along the way and to better
Mhm.
serve our clients. And that's a really,
Mhm.
really important piece.
Yeah. And this weaves back to the episode prior to this, in the way that our clients choose us for us, the deep and human aspect of who we are. I don't care if they like what we told them in the listing appointment. I don't care if we wrote the best offer for them. There's some sort of energy connection that's happening between us for them to trust us. So it's important to be who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nodding my
Okay,
head.
great.
Yes,
Yeah, I
that
know.
is so. That was a big nod. Yes,
That was a big
I
nod.
better
You're like,
verbalize
yes, Jefi, yes. Okay, so let's walk through a couple of
that.
examples
Okay, let's do it.
really quick.
Uh,
This you said this and I loved it, so I can't wait to hear it again.
oh,
Your big fat hairy goal.
yeah. So what we like to call, our BFHGs, our big fat hairy goals. The first time you tell it to somebody, it's probably going to be a whisper. You're probably going to be like, I got this crazy idea, and it'll never work. Right? Those type of things. You might think I've lost my mind. Those type of things that pop in and come to you that are kind of bigger than life. That means you're probably onto something. And I'll give a quick example of when this happened. I just recalled this right now. Okay. Yeah. When I got into real estate 20 years ago, I wasn't 2 weeks in, and I said, this year I'm going to go to the Tour de France, and I'm going to ride the Alpe d'Huez. I'm going up. And this is 20 years ago when people thought, when I told them that, they thought I was going to be in the Tour de France. They had this complete disconnect. But it was early on in the days, but I'm like, I'm doing it. And it was complete, people are like, you're doing what? What? Yeah. And I hadn't even booked a commission yet, and I booked my flight. And I signed up.
Lynn's probably like,
yeah, she's like, here he goes again. Here he goes again. But again, that was like this BFHG that was somewhat whacked out that really defined a lot of what I did. They put my picture, I had like the cover story back in the real estate section in our local paper back when that was a thing of me doing this trip. And I was known for that. So it kind of launched my presence in the market about this young agent who was crazy. So anyway, that's a little bit about what that whisper is. So you want to walk through that process piece a little bit?
Well, this is funny too, because this is what I love about Lynn and Cody, our partners. They're very grounded, right? They're and last night I pitched an idea and I just watched Cody's face go, oh my God. And that's when I knew it was a great idea. because his reaction to it is, what the hell is she doing? And that's like that whisper piece that goes, I'm on a track. I'm on the track, and here's Cody going, please come back.
Here she goes again.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe just a couple underlying things about that on the process is, have the courage to think big. Look out like 5 years, and say like, gosh, if I have this thing, what could this become? So, an example would be, I'm kind of interested in sailing. Well, I could sail around the world, right? That's where I immediately go. And that's how the Tour de France thing happened. I was just getting into cycling. I'm like, I'm going to go to the Tour de France.
I love that.
So that's one. The other is, life events and choices. So, kind of look for a background on things that came up and about and see if that's, an option for you.
Time out.
Yeah.
We got to take a time out, Seth, for just a second. Sorry, I have this glucose monitor that is literally going off in the background because my glucose is low, and it keeps disconnecting my earbuds.
Okay.
So
I saw you looking at your phone. I was like, is she sending me a message?
No. Okay, let's count it backwards. Ready?
Hold on. If you're ready, we were at life event and choices. Okay.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump in, Seth, right at life event and choices. 5, 4, 3, 2. The other one is to look at your life events and see what choices you made and if that speaks to you.
Right. That's that whole thing about how you live your days is how you live your years.
Yep.
So if you're looking at the choices you're making today, that's pretty much the path you're on for your year.
Exactly. Yeah. So so look for those, and we're going to dig into an example that Jefi has on here in a minute. So I think that's really kind of neat. So I can't wait to hear that. So look to weave those themes in. Test the waters. Kind of like play around with it and see what might speak to you. You're not going to get it right the first time, so kind of fine tune it.
Right. Which is why we talk a lot about starting small. And, one of the notes we have here in our show notes is about budgets. And that really ties into like if you're planning a huge event or you're planning something that's really big, you need a budget in there as well so that over time you're getting ready for this large event, whatever X event is. So I just wanted to add that too.
Yep, exactly.
That was for Jeremy Patterson, by the way. Budget.
Budget it. That's right. So with that in mind,
right.
we're kind of dive into a couple working examples, and this is like real world brainstorming for y'all, but there's a structure to it, and we hope that that's gonna help you kind of go through this. So we're going to create some outlines together, and the first one, Jefi's going to lead off and dig into a little bit of a backstory on some stuff in her life. So go for it, Jeff.
Right. So the reason I'm going to share this piece is because maybe you can identify with a moment in your life that changed course for things. And quite possibly that could be your pivotal moment that you can dig into. So that's why I'm sharing this piece. So this is not creating anything. This is more of an idea. So 9 years ago, I went into the doctor and she looked at me and she said, well, lady, your cholesterol is absolutely out of control. And if you don't go on a statin, you're going to probably have a stroke. And we don't want that for you. And I remember sitting there, my body's starting to sweat. And I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? I'm totally healthy. What is she talking about? So I started asking her some questions and she said, well, the first thing you can do is cut out refined carbohydrates because your body doesn't process them correctly. And this is causing a lot of issues with you. Now, everybody's different. Everybody's bodies process things. So this is only my story. Mm-hmm. I know carbohydrates are great and I eat them, but this is my story. So I remember looking at her and going, no, you need to give me 3 months. I'm not going to take a statin. That's not who I am. So there's pivotal moment number one. I usually don't take the easy way out, which is sometimes a pain in the ass for everybody around me, but there you go. So I get in the car and I'm sitting there and I remember it was like hot. I'm in the car and I'm holding the steering wheel and I started getting angry.
Uh-oh.
I'm all, this must be what an alcoholic feels like when they're told they can never drink again. Because bread for me is a life event. My mother had bread at every meal. We had bread and butter. We had fresh bread. We had bread that smelled like magic. And I was sitting there just going, my mouth's watering even right now thinking about it. So this is what it's my sense of home. It's this whole thing. So I'm driving home and I start thinking about these things. I start thinking, well, if I don't take care of myself, then my partner's going to have to take care of me. And that's unfair. That's me saying, no, I don't care. And then I'm changing the trajectory of someone else's life. That's totally unfair. So again, another pivotal moment, like I'm pulling it back to center. I'm like, what can I do? Then over the course of these years, I've tried many things that have, number one, lowered my cholesterol to lower than it's ever been before. So I've made all these choices based on, I went fully vegan for a year, then I went vegetarian, which I still am. And then I changed a whole alcohol. I changed a whole bunch of things. But what I'm trying to say is this all of a sudden started these passion pieces in me where I love to cook. I love to make things for people that they go, I hate that vegetable, but it tastes amazing. And then they're now at home cooking that vegetable. So this really started this passion piece inside of me. And that's kind of what's weaving through my big, fat, hairy goals. So like at my events, I don't know if my clients notice this or not, I don't serve meat.
Yeah, because that's not who you are.
Because that's not who I am. So I'm not going to spend the money on it. I'm not going to support it. But I only have had 2 of my clients' children come. They're like, where's the chicken? I'm all, Jefi doesn't serve chicken.
That's right. I love it.
So it's funny. But anyway, I wanted to share that because I feel like this is, if you really write down some things and really feel some things, you probably have many of these kind of life-changing events, and did they spark something in you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing this. I've known you for a while. And when you shared this the first time in show prep, I was like, wow, had no idea. And I can see where this passion comes from. And now this is opening up. You're going to work with this to kind of chink away and see how do we craft this in. And you're already kind of doing that in some elements, like you're exposing your clients to this. And I'm really excited to see how you refine that into your mission and going forward. So great example to show that inspiration.
Thank you.
That kind of transitions to mine, and we're going to skip through the kind of background a little bit, but just say that for me and a lot of the things I've been involved with, and if you listen to this show, I was a scout leader, I've ridden cross country. I mentioned I did Alpe d'Huez. I go on these adventures. It fuels me. And it's shown to me the power of being in flow moments. And I love the idea of making that available to my clients. So my purpose is I'm seeing myself, being a resource for my clients in their life events while guiding them through the real estate buy sell process, but in a very flowy kind of way. And promoting and trying to be an inspiration around, being healthy and physically active and showing these tools on how to have it improve your life. So that's kind of the high level. So now we wanted to get into the nitty gritty, like, okay, so what's the mission? So we're going to dive right in. Unless you have any questions on that, Jeff.
Well, I just want to make sure the audience knows right now we're going to go through a plan, and you can use this as a general idea for you to build out a plan. So Ed's going to go through what his, plan is, and then just use that as an outline.
Perfect. And again, this is work in progress. So picture you're at the whiteboard and we're just kind of hammering through this. So I said, okay, for 2024, if I've got this underlying purpose, what could I be doing to kind of bring these things forward? So I see myself in October of 2024 providing a small group adventure retreat for up to 8 members of what I call my tribe. So these are going to be the people that are close to me, clients, other realtors, people that are interested in this type of stuff, and create this event to allow them to access flow to improve their fitness and their life plans. So this is going to be something I want to do in October. So now I'm like specific and it's far enough out. We're like, about 18 months out, right? So now how do I get there? Now this is the backward planning piece. It's the re-engineering, if you will. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, how do I get there?
Right.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah. So the first step for me is I want to get back into some flow stuff. And, again, flow activities need to be novel and challenging and getting you out of your comfort zone. And I want to have my next flowy outdoor event be in January of 2024.
I love that.
Okay.
So just to go backwards a little bit here. So you have your far away goal right now is October of 24.
October of 24.
And ultimately that October of 24 goal could launch into an October of 25 goal and so on.
That's right. If I'm doing,
because you're propelling yourself towards something.
Right. So if we're going to BFHG it, big fat hairy goal, it could be, maybe 5 years from now, I'm having 4 of these events. And maybe I've built a methodology around that to where we can share that to other thought leaders in our industry to be able to use these tools to do on their own. Right.
Understood.
So
I love
So that's kind of like sitting out there in the ether, but it'll continue to get refined.
Good. Okay. So let's talk about your goal we're going to break down your goal for January of 2024.
Let's do it. So I wanted to have a novel, flowy event. And novel is like something I've never really done outside of my comfort zone. Kind of scares me a little bit.
Mhm.
And so I'm not a skier. I've
Okay.
dabbled in it a little bit, but it's not like
I'm
something
really good at it.
I know. I'm not. So I'm like, okay, this is good.
Woo.
This is something I could do to kind of get me out of my comfort zone. Part of that is
Right.
I want to get back in my top kind of fitness shape, right? So if
Okay.
I just say, hey, I'm going to go on a mountain bike ride, well, I do that a lot. That's not going to scare me enough to like hit the gym and do the things I need to do. It
Yes.
needs to be scary for me. Now, scary for me
Yes.
is not scary for you. So
Right.
so I want to make sure that I've got my body ready to go
Mhm.
to start this skiing journey. So we know we're going to be at a Buffini conference in January of 2024. We don't have the date yet.
Okay.
So that's going to
Yep.
put me out west. So that'll be easy to either go to, to some mountain out west after that. Probably be Utah,
Okay.
probably be, maybe Mammoth, depending on the snowpack, right? So now
I love that.
I've got a date and we're starting to think about, okay, where?
Right. Again, and this gets into the specifics. So you can have any goal you want, but if you're not breaking down the specifics, like how much you want to weigh, how many push-ups you want to be able to do, how many pull-ups, how many planks, how many, like, what am I going to do to get my body in order?
That
Am I buying my plane ticket to this mountain? Where are my skis coming from? Do I have a helmet? Please wear a helmet. Okay.
Yeah, all
So
that stuff, right? So
all of it.
now I've got a mark in the sand.
Right.
And now I've got to say, okay, and you hit it like I want my body to be ready for this, right?
Right.
So I've set these metrics, did a little searching, like what are the exercises, and I've got that all defined. And my
Right.
commitments. So I've laid that out. How much I need to weigh, how many push-ups I need to do, how many pull-ups, how long on planks, getting in my running again, so that I'm fit and lean and ready to go. Now this serves a bigger purpose because now if I'm there in January, then that launches me into October, right? So
Yes,
it's
exactly.
feeding the next
One
goal.
one goal begets the next
That's
goal.
right.
That's right. So coaching.
Yes. So whenever you're setting a goal system like this and looking to get on a mission, there are really four key elements that you want to include.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have coaching, and then we're going to go through these and how these work. So coaching,
Okay, great. Mm-hmm.
accountability,
Mm-hmm.
community,
Mm-hmm.
and skin in the game.
Yes.
So let's tackle those one at a time. So on coaching,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
what do you think a good coaching item would be on this for me, Jeff?
Well, first of all, you need to start doing stuff that is skiing centric so your body can be ready for that.
That's right.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. So it probably would make sense to like get a personal trainer and get
Yeah.
that lined up. So I'm hitting the right, getting the right fitness routine
Right.
and doing that. And then the other coaching piece is, hey, spend the money to get private lessons when I'm on the mountain, right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
do the
Yeah.
group with, on the little bunny slope with, with all the little other 8-year-olds, but like have a private
Oh my
lesson
God.
and do
Right.
that.
Cody's motivation was me skiing backwards down a tough hill whilst watching him
Yeah, that's called shaming.
tumble. I wasn't trying to shame him, but it was such motivation for him to like continue skiing so that I wouldn't be able to do that.
I love it. I love it. So you want
Okay.
that coaching piece. So make sure you're not trying to
Yes.
do it alone, and talk to other people.
Right.
Then accountability.
Mhm.
Can we track your progress? And I've already started doing this. Like I weighed myself. I'm already
Mhm.
down because I'm starting
That's
to put
amazing.
the habits in because I know I'm going somewhere, right?
Yes.
Community. Okay. Reconnect with my tribe around this. Let them know about it. Hey, we're going to be talking about this on the pod, right? So I'm going to bring you and you're going to be asking me, how's it going? And I'll be totally
Right.
transparent. So now I'm
Yes.
like accountable and I'm bringing other people in.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. It's got to be fun. So,
It does have to be
Yeah.
fun because if it's not fun, sometimes when I'm out riding my bike and I'm suffering getting ready for this big long bike ride, I'm like, this is not fun. And then I get through that moment and I keep going. And yes, it's a lot of fun. So let's not forget that sometimes the fun factor gets lost when you're really working hard for a goal. So don't give up in that moment, Jefi. Keep pedaling.
So, so can I give you a tip on that, on the fun on
Yeah,
that? So
please.
do you do like an Opry ride, like have coffee afterward when you're all done with people and kind of talk about it?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so bring that fun element into that. Like you've
Yes.
finished up
Great.
and now you're, that's like your reward because all your endorphins and everything are just jamming. You've done this and bring that in and have that time.
I like that. I like that. Skin in the game.
You got to spend some money
Yep.
because
So these are 5 really good
yeah,
things. Skin in the game. Hang on. Do you have to get partner approval?
you had to go there.
Lynn, what do you think about this project? Okay, I do have a question though. Because this would be something I would think about. You're planning to learn how to ski and there's no snow around you right now. So what are you saying that that's the high goal, and so all of the things you're doing, like the getting in shape and the planning of it and doing these little things to get your body ready to do that, that's enough to get you to that point?
Well, yeah. The event is in January to go learn to ski, right? So,
Oh, learn to ski. I thought you were going to like ski a black diamond.
no, no, no. I'm going to a skiing event to learn to ski in January.
All
It's
right. Okay, guys.
yeah.
I'm just
Jeffy
messing
likes
with
to
you.
jump to the end.
I do. I do like to jump to the end. Well, I want to know where you're going
Yeah,
and what you're
yeah.
doing. But okay, to pull this in just even tighter, you need to do a daily review. What does that look like? Like, so we've have these goals. I'm assuming you've got these calendared because we've talked about this, like getting these events calendared, making these goals. What does this look like,
Yeah.
this piece?
So what that is, and part of this plan is developing the plan. What plan? What's the fitness plan? What are the elements on
Mm-hmm.
what I'm eating? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not eating sugar. I'm not drinking alcohol during this period. I'm
Mm-hmm.
making these choices, and
Mm-hmm.
weighing my food again. Doing a lot of the
Mm,
tools that we have, right? And then each
right.
day looking and saying at the end of the day, what did I do well? What
Mm-hmm.
didn't I do well? And what
Mm-hmm.
can I do better tomorrow?
I love this. So do you do this at night before you go to bed about your day, or do you do it in the morning, or where does this kind of fall in? Because this is a really cool one.
Well, this works for business too. I find it's best to go through these exercises at a fixed time in a fixed place at the end of your business
Mm-hmm.
day. So probably around
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock to just say, hey, wrap it up. What did I do well?
Right.
What did I not do well? And what can I do better tomorrow?
Okay, one other thing I'd love to share that you're doing and is that you have taken this to the point where you have this time for things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your daily review, but on your calendar. So when you check in with your calendar, it gives you your bullet points of what you're doing that day, right? To get it even tighter and easier.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that's very key. And you're a master at this, but doing the time blocking so that it's like, okay, I time block my daily review, 6 o'clock. Stop what you're
Right.
doing. You go through your review for all your goals you're working on, business, passion projects, all the way through, how
Mm-hmm.
you did. And what I found on this in the past, and this is, kind of a unique idea, when you're doing something on a passion project like this, it pulls everything else forward with you.
Yeah,
You get this
it sure does.
synergistic effect. And
Right.
you're doing this right now with your ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is so funny, everybody. I got up this morning to do this podcast. I had to get ready for the podcast. And now I got to go hop on my trainer, get ready for work.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it doesn't go exactly how you want it, but you got to do it. So we're going to wrap it up, right?
Yep. I guess.
Do we want to do a little recap of anything here before we wrap it up? Because we've given a lot of
Yeah,
information.
this there's a lot of content here, but I think if we
Mm-hmm.
go through it again, you want to have a good sense of purpose,
Yep. Love that.
mission or goals that are powered by purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then you set a plan, you kind of listen to that inner voice and pick a big fat hairy goal that's hanging out there 5 years from now, 3 to
Yeah.
5 years, just something like way out there. And then think about, okay, what could I be doing in 2 years? And then what could I get done in the next 18 to 12 months? That's the
Yeah.
one that's actually actionable. So for my example, it's like, hey, the next 6 months, 4 months, I'm going to be fit and ready to launch into whatever I'm going to be doing on this passion piece in October of 2024. So you start layering these things, but you'll find that if you have your goals powered by purpose, that's going to just rack up your motivation.
I love it. Thanks, Ed. Great stuff, man.
Well, great stuff from you, and I can't wait to hear more about how you're going to take your backstory life event and work through this. So we'll come back to this topic again, and obviously have progress reports and hopefully not any mocking about how I need to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks.
That won't happen. That's not the Ed Billings I know. You're very focused, which is a really cool trait that you have.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you and love your comments and feedback. And now we're laser focused on Ed's goals.
There you go.
I can't wait. Total exposure, buddy.
See you later. Yeah, I'm out there.